Chinese Communist Party has a saying when it comes to their warfare, psychological warfare operations and other forms of subversion. Strangle you with your own systems. In other words, observing how different countries operate, what is controversial within their systems, how does their system function, how can we use those systems to twist things around, to cause chaos, to mess things up, to use it against them. You say you believe in free speech? We'll have protests in your own backyard calling you out. You say you believe in free press? Well, we'll start up state-run media in your country and we'll use those state-run media to lie to your population, to spread our propaganda. That's what they do. You believe in free markets? How about we bring state-run companies that can sell below cost and put your companies out of business and take over your industries? That's what they're doing, right? Strangle you with your own systems. And what is controversial in the United States? What is most controversial? Racism. This race narrative, they know they can use it. They've been doing it for a very long time. There are different groups, for example, Committee of 100 in the US, who every time a Chinese spy is arrested, they call it racism, because they know that's what we're sensitive to. The Chinese military has a doctrine on this, the three warfares doctrine: psychological warfare, media warfare, and legal warfare. This is publicly adopted into their military doctrine. This is part of their military system. Now, what are these? Psychological warfare is not necessarily lying to you. Psychological warfare is altering how you interpret information. And so when you see a virus coming out of China and people say this virus came out of China, if you call it the Chinese virus, they want to use this and twist it around and say it is racist if you talk about the origin of this virus. What is media warfare? Media warfare is the manipulation or control of outlets of information, not just news outlets, but say social media, online platforms, the ability to speak openly. Anything that would allow people to communicate would be a target of media warfare. And what is legal warfare? Legal warfare is a manipulation of international legal systems. The Chinese Communist Party, for them, this is adopted into their military code. This is war fighting to them.
山东龙口滨海大道永弄河桥下的入海口，我们看，这就是往海水里排污。现在已经都露出来了，那个退潮了，所以说全都露，它一直延伸到海岸、深海里边。我们看看，这排污的水黑黑的，而且有一种刺鼻的味道。看看，一直延伸到海底。 这就是排污的管道，这只是露出来的是冰山一角。看看，这边是柏林海岸，这边是人工岛。看看这个管道，东海的海水就是这样污染的。
Let me turn to China, Mr. President. You called it an attack the other day. Was it deliberate?
So, a terrible thing happened, and you can look at it as a source. It took place at a certain point, and it could have been put out, and it should have been put out. And we asked to go over, and they said no. They didn't want our help. And I figured that was okay because they must know what they're doing. So it was either stupidity, incompetence, or it was deliberate, one or the other. But one of the things that is bad is they stopped people leaving. Nobody could go to China. You couldn't go to Beijing. You couldn't go anywhere in China. But you could go to the rest of the world. What was that all about?
430,000 people traveled from China to the United States after coronavirus was known.
Right. Okay. So we took in, as you know, a very small, because I put on, in January, and I was criticized by everybody, including Dr. Fauci. I put in a wall. We put in a very strong wall. Only a small number of people were allowed in, and they were all U.S. citizens. I can't tell a U.S. citizen you can't come back into your country. And then I put up a barrier to Europe, too, because what happened is these same people and others went to Europe. Europe became heavily infected. Italy, a very favorite place of yours.
Yes.
Italy, Spain, France became very, very badly infected. Infected, it's a terrible word, isn't it? It all became a horror show. And then I closed it because I didn't want people coming in from Europe, if you can believe it. This is what happened. But by doing this, we actually acted very early. We did a thing, we did a great thing, but it's a disastrous subject, no matter how you cut it.
Knowing what you know now, and as you start reopening things and you're getting info from all of the governors and you're tracking this, when would you expect international travel to come back? Is that a 2021 affair?
All I can say is this: as soon as possible. We can't send planes over to a country that right now, I mean, I'm not going to mention names of countries, but there are some that are right now, we talked about one just a little while ago, really badly infected. So we can't bring people in that we just can't.
It'll take a while.
It'll take a little while. But a lot of people are going to start traveling more so in the United States, and they'll be back. We're going to have, it's all going to be back together. And in many ways, we've learned a lot, and we're going to bring back manufacturing that we could never have done without this. As bad as this has been, because now people agree with me. A lot of people are saying Trump was right. I've been talking about this for a long time. I've been doing a lot about it. But, you know, they become embedded. It's almost like it becomes a way of life. We have to do business.
So much stimulus.
This is about our country. It's not about the world. We have to fix our country. The world, we want to be a leader, the leader, but right now, I'm president of the United States. I'm not president of the world. I say it all the time. I want to make America great again. I want to do what we have. You know, years ago, we made our own product. We didn't rely on everybody in the world. They have their own problems.
So what happened? They just wanted to do it cheaper? They wanted lax
So you have
environmental...
globalists. They're globalists. They're people that think we have to make the world wealthy at our expense. I don't even know where these people come from. But those days are over. And if nothing else, over the last 2 months, it's been proven to be right.
Let me get to China, because I also want to get to the unmasking and General Flynn, but I got to get to China first, because Secretary Pompeo said that he has strong evidence that it did come from the virology lab. We've been reporting this every Sunday, by the way, from early on. You also said that you saw evidence. Can you tell us anything about the intelligence?
No, but we have a lot of information, and it's not good. But you know, the worst of all, whether it came from the lab or came from the bats or it all came from China. And they should have stopped it. They could have stopped it at that source. I call it the source. Right there.
They made a decision to allow it to escape its borders.
I don't know if they made the decision, but it got out of control. I think more likely it got out of control.
Senator Cotton said that they didn't want the Chinese economy to contract 20% and the rest of the world to contract 2%.
So we were beating them very badly before this. We were beating them between the tariffs and other things we were doing. And we were going up, and they were having a very bad year. They were having the worst year they've had in 56 years.
He had Hong Kong protesters on the street,
and they weren't well, and even beyond that. And we were really doing well. And that is a theory. But here's what I know for sure. They didn't allow this whole thing. They didn't allow people to go into China, but they did allow them to go out to the world, including the United States. That's why Europe is a mess. That's why, look at these countries. Russia's having a hard time. Everybody's having a hard time.
So will it get worse for those countries, do you think?
Yeah, it's for some of them. Some have just started the process. We're getting toward the end of the process.
You know, so they downplayed the disease. They downplayed the virus. At the same time, they're allowing international travel. 5 million people leaving Wuhan, going to Italy, going to the United States. Then they start cornering the market on protective equipment, even though China is already the largest producer of this stuff.
That's not the big thing. Look, the big thing is they should have never let this happen. They should have never let this happen. So I make a great trade deal, and now I say it just doesn't feel the same to me. The ink was barely dry, and the plague came over, and it doesn't feel the same to me.
Are they going to renege on it? They're not going to buy the $250 billion, are they?
They will buy $250 billion. They said somewhere I see they'd like to renegotiate the deal. We're not going to renegotiate. Look, I'm not happy about anything having to do with that particular subject right now. But everything I said turned out to be right. You go back 10 years, 20 years, I'm telling you, it's why I'm sitting here. There's the beautiful Oval Office, because of trade, not only with China, with other countries also. You look at other countries They charge us tariffs to do business, and we're not allowed to charge them.
What are you going to do about it? Right now, as we speak, they're continuing to steal intellectual property. The word is out. The FBI puts the warning out. They're stealing intellectual property on science data, on research. They want to get a COVID-19 vaccine before us. Are they going to beat us to the COVID-19 vaccine now?
They've always been doing it, and they were never called. Now they're being called out all the time with me. For a long time, long before this.
So you can stop them from doing this?
Well, we can stop them. They're going to try doing it. I mean, you could also stop doing business with them. That's one thing. Look, we have lost a fortune dealing with China. We have rebuilt China. They've done a great job. But the people sitting in this seat have allowed them to rip us off like you've never seen before. And that includes President Obama and Biden, Sleepy Joe. He allowed them to rip this country off. We spent hundreds of billions. We gave them hundreds of billions of dollars year in and year out.
Have you spoken to Xi Jinping?
I have a very good relationship, but right now, I don't want to speak to him. I don't want to speak to him.
Because, Senator Cotton was saying maybe we should be limiting the amount of visas that we give to students who want to study things like quantum computing.
There are many things.
And AI.
There are many things we could do. We could do things. We could cut off the whole relationship. Now, if you did, what would happen? You'd save $500 billion if you cut off the whole relationship. Look, at what point does it, and I said this for years, I said it with other countries also.